I'm going to show you how to solve a problem using the simple harmonic equation and calculating for the example problem that given states that Marla Maid is standing on the Vanderbilt's dining room table dusting the chandelier. While Martha is reaching up, she slips and grabs hold of the chandelier to catch her balance. When she lets go, the chandelier begins to swing with a period of 1.6 seconds. How long is the cable from the chandelier to the ceiling? One of the first things that you always want to do when solving these types of problems is identifying your unknowns and your knowns. Okay. We are given that the period is 1.6 seconds, and we can go ahead and assume that Marla is on Earth and that gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared. They're asking us for how long the cable is, which is indicated by the letter L for length. So I'm going to take that information and transfer it onto my paper. We were given that the period of the chandelier is 1.6 seconds. Again, we assume that Marla is on Earth, and so gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared, and we are looking for the length, which will be in meters. I'm going to take this data now and plug it into my equation. The equation we'll be using is the simple harmonic equation, which states that the period is equal to 2 pi multiplied by the length of the pendulum divided by gravity. And I'm going to go ahead and make a note here to make sure that this 2 pi gets put in parentheses. It'll save you some headaches later. So plugging in data, this is what our equation would look like. 1.6 seconds, which was the period given, is equal to 2 pi multiplied by the square root of L, which is our unknown, divided by gravity, which is 9.81 meters per second squared. Now, in order to solve for the unknown, which is L, we have to make sure we isolate it and get it by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 2 pi. And to do that, I'm going to use division, because division is the opposite of multiplication, which is what is taking place here. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi. This will cancel out. Remember, whatever you do one side of the equal sign, you must do to the other. This is where it can get a bit tricky for students, because if you don't put this 2 pi in parentheses, the calculator will perform an incorrect order of operations. 1.6, which was the period, divided by parentheses 2, and I'm going to use the symbol pi, which you achieve by hitting second, this button right here, gives you 0.254647. Now remember, you don't want to round early. That will introduce rounding error. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this all for the sake of simplicity and to show you each step I'm doing. I've got 0.254, let me zoom out a bit here, 254,6479089 is equal to the square root of L divided by 9.81. Okay, to simplify this further, we need to get rid of the square root sign so that L is by itself. Now, to get rid of the square root sign, what I'm going to do is I'm going to square it. That will cancel out the square root. But remember, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you must do to the other. Leaving the number intact with the whole decimal on the calculator, I'm simply going to press the x squared button. This will take your last answer in full decimal form and square it. This will save you from making mistakes and having to retype the entire decimal. So I've got 0.06484555575 equals to L over 9.81. At this point, it is basic algebra. And in order to get L itself, since it's being divided by 9.81, I'm going to do the opposite, which is multiplying. So I multiply both sides by 9.81. This will cancel out. And remember, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign must be done to the other. So L is equal to, remember, I'm going to leave the whole number intact. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to press anything. I'm not going to retype it. All I'm going to do is simply hit the multiply symbol. And you're going to see the letters A and S for answer. Okay? Go ahead and multiply that by 9.81. Once again, this will save you from having to retype in all the decimal errors down to a minimum. Okay, go ahead and hit enter, and so the length of the pendulum, or the length of the pendulum that the chandelier is acting as, is going to be 0.636 meters. Now on Moodle, you can go ahead and just round this to 0.6. That's it.